What's up? What's up? What's up? How is everybody doing today? Welcome everybody out there in Facebook land. Did you miss us? I hope you did, because we certainly missed you. This is Judah Hoover, and this guy right over here is Josh Weidman. I am a realtor and a real estate investor, and Josh is a hard money lender and a real estate investor. Last week we had an awesome time doing a class. It was a lot of heavy work though, a lot of heavy lifting though, is what I wanted to say. And Josh did a lot of that. He did an absolutely phenomenal job. And I'm kind of the face of the operation, and he's the brains of the operation. And I'm none too pretty, and he's none too smart. So
you're the face of the operation with a radio voice,
right?
With a face of radio, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we had an awesome week though last week, talking about how to flip houses without cash, credit, or criminal behavior. And we got a lot of really great feedback. One lady said that she learned as much, if not more, than she did by paying, I've almost said the name, but a $50,000 guru course to somebody who used to have one of those flip houses TV shows, and now goes.
And you know what we did for her? We gave her a 50% off discount.
Right. We only charged
half that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So we had a really great time last week, and thank you very much everybody for your feedback and everything like that. And we're going to jump into some good stuff here for you today.
Exactly. So today we're going to talk about number one. We're going to kind of recap the challenge. I think that that if you missed it, I mean, I don't even know what to say, because it's gone. It's over. But if you missed us last week and you're like, yeah, this challenge thing looks interesting, but I'm not really interested at the moment. Whatever. If you missed it, I'm sorry. It's gone. For those that were there, you know that we covered a lot of really great content in a format that was a lot more interactive than what we usually do on a daily basis, right? You know, we went live throughout the week. We had a lot of additional content, a lot of feedback from other people in the group. And I think that, well, shoot, I'm a slide behind. I'll just go to the next one. That's just kind of the recap. Like, I think Judah and I were really kind of overwhelmed with the positive feedback that we got from last week from users, like on a daily basis. Judah, you talked about that one, that one comment, I guess, on the value that we brought to the free Facebook, free challenge. It's not like we're charging anything, but in addition to that, we've gotten dozens and dozens and dozens of texts and private messages and emails. Judah, I didn't even take a look at the reply email for Build and Grow with Real Estate.
Right.
All of the emails have gone out of. They've been going to a different email account, and I went through it this morning. First of all, to those that I didn't respond to yet, I'm really sorry. But I can't believe some of the messages that we're getting there. We just really, really are thankful. I think when we talked about this originally, Judah, we were looking at like, okay, how do we do this Facebook challenge thing? And you know what? It was your idea. I love it. It's great. It's like, how the heck do we put this together, and how does it work, and why are we doing it? And I think one of our frustrations has been that because we've kept the show to a half hour, it's kind of a time slot that you've got to have some substantial content to cover, right? But you also can't really dig so deep. And so what we've done is kind of stretched out, content over maybe the first 3 days of the week on a topic where, maybe if we'd had an hour straight, it would have been a little bit better format. And so we discussed some different things. And I think last week was a really good test for us to see if that's a format that we got good feedback on. Right. And I think the answer is yes. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's what was so amazing about it is we were blown away by the positive feedback we got, and we kind of, with some shyness and timidity, stepped into that arena. Do we have the ability to do this? Do we have the gravitas to pull this off? Are we worthy? Have we done enough to be worthy of calling ourselves this? And I think that that's a lesson for all of us, is to realize is that you've got to start someplace, and you've got to just jump in by making offers for your first real estate deal. It all begins someplace, and I think that that's the lesson that we learned, is that we actually probably waited a little bit too long
Yeah.
to doing stuff like that, and we're going to do a lot more. It's exactly what Josh says right here on the slide. This was the first of many.
Yeah.
We are going to be bringing a lot more different topics to you in this way, because we had basically 5 1-hour shows throughout the course of the week.
Right.
I mean, that would have taken us a month to get through on our normal show, half an hour segment and things like that.
Yeah, and it allowed us to kind of break the education portion of it and go lineal, but also linear, whatever, but go linear, but also go a lot deeper. So,
right.
Instead of covering, generating leads, for 15 minutes one day over the course of a week, we had some time to really dig deep in that and talk about who to contact and all that kind of stuff. More so than we have in on this show. This is going to be a format that we're going to take advantage of, I think, moving forward a lot more. And we'd love for your feedback on that. Like, what other topics do would you like to explore? Yeah, Judah and I even talked about, like, we could do probably an entire week on lead generation, though my goodness, we could probably do a whole week on building your investment team, like all of the members of the teams that you would need to have, to put your dream team together. So, we have a lot of ideas of some topics for upcoming challenges. We'd love to get your feedback. I think that's a really big part of this, is like, look, there's some really important parts of investing in real estate that are probably best learned in the field, right? We could sit here and hold an accounting session every day for a year and probably not cover all of the real estate law and accounting that you would need, and nobody would watch. So, with all that said, we're gonna keep the topics to areas that people are involved in and want to be involved in moving forward here.
Absolutely. So do your homework. We had a lot of fun, and it was a great way to interact with everybody and get lots of great stuff done. So please, if you were part of that challenge, do your homework, and if you want to be part of the next challenge, shoot us an email so that we can, or text message or Facebook friend request or something like that, so we can absolutely get you part of the next one.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so this leads us to some new announcements. Exciting news. We're going to be changing the show format here on Build and Grow with Real Estate a little bit moving forward. And as I mentioned, a couple minutes ago, it's been a real challenge trying to find a balance between going live every day and keeping the content fresh and relevant and and interesting all at the same time, and like real education stuff all at the same time. And so as we've explored this, we just decided that really we'd like to be able to spend a month working on a challenge while we're coming live and offering content. But at the same time, I'd like to have a nice work-home balance. So we're going to be transitioning from an everyday 30-minute show every weekday. We're looking at a Monday, Thursday, Friday schedule where, on Mondays, we're going to have the same educational broadcast that we've been bringing you, on the show 3 days a week for several months here.
And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, taking a break. And then on Thursday, again, interviewing a great guest.
Yeah.
And on Friday, doing more content, follow up from the guest, news of the day as needed. But also, Josh and I are definitely have deals that we're working individually, and we have deals that we're working together. And so we're going to have some updates on what some of those things are. And what we're hoping that this does is we're worried about listener fatigue. And we don't want, a lot of people can't tune in every day, and therefore we think that they're missing a lot of great content. And we also think that there's a lot of people who are, who because we come up with a show every day, I think that our shows are 99% of the time great and awesome, but sometimes our content gets a little bit more diluted than what we wish that it did. And so this is just going to concentrate.
Your mic dropped out just at the perfect moment there.
We think that our content gets a little more diluted than what we wish that it would.
Sure.
So the hope is, the goal here is that we keep things focused, keep things fresh, and also take that time that we were putting into those other two shows to make the remaining three shows better, but also create additional content.
Well, and that's the idea as well, is like different types of people like different types of things. And, you know, I've found that our show, at times we've gone through the educational side and we kind of march through the show with the same format every day. And that works really well if we're talking about an educational format, right?
Right.
Also, it's fun to just like kick back and learn stuff by watching cool things. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, Steve brings up an excellent point here. Providing insight into deals underway is very helpful, and it also reveal some of the challenges. So, you know, one of the things that we could talk about is I had a open house that I marketed all last week for a wholesale that I'm working on, and I had an open house on Friday. And because the seller still lives in the open house, and had some acceptable turn up for the open house, but not really awesome. And so now I'm back to thinking, okay, what do I want to do? Am I going to lower this price? Am I going to have another open house? What am I going to do? As of this point, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to continue to do the same thing and hope that nothing changes. However, we are going to see, we're going to be making a decision here shortly. And the hope would be that we can make that decision and then bring that decision and results to you in these shows.
Yeah. So we weren't here yesterday, and that kind of leads into some of the original content that we're going to talk here. We weren't here yesterday because Judah and I ended up closing on a deal that we're going to be doing and using as, the development of this project as some content for the show. And, this is a really interesting project because it's a house that both Judah and I looked at independently at separate times over a long period of time, because this is a unique property in Palmyra that ends up, it's been on the MLS for like 18 months.
Right.
And
I want to make a real quick comment. Yeah. Okay. So typically, as properties are on the MLS for a longer period of time, they become less and less
interesting.
The likelihood of you getting that deal done goes less and less and less and less and less until it becomes infinite, right? So people ask me all the time, they're like, hey, Jude, I got this deal I'm running the numbers on. I want to know what you think about it. And I want to know what I should offer the seller. And I say, okay, how long has it been on the MLS? 7 months. Great. It's not a deal. Move on. Like if you're a newbie and there's something out there on the MLS and it is stale, just understand every other seasoned pro has already tried to do that deal 18 ways to Sunday.
That's
and
right.
They haven't had success. And the likelihood of you having success is low. Now, if we're talking to a big enough audience, or if you're selling enough courses, there's a whole lot of gurus who will say, oh, those are great deals, and you should absolutely try to do those deals. The problem is, if you ask a whole bunch of people to take a shot in the dark, a few people are going to hit, and then you can hold up those few people as an example for what works.
And let's
that doesn't actually work for most people.
but let's be clear about this too, right? There's something that comes along with it, the experience in the process. There's something, knowing what to expect on the other side of a question, you know, and how to respond to that. Like, as a, for instance, you know, this property in particular, I talked to the agent. Agent says to me, I've gotten offers for the last year, 1 to 2 a week for the last year on this property from X price to Y price, right? And we're getting really close, but we're not where the owner wants to be.
Basically, the owner had the property listed at a number that they felt was a discount.
Yep.
And they were not willing to go 1 penny lower than the price that they had it listed for. Yep. And universally, the market agreed that it was overlisted by about 15 to 20%.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yes.
And so, which was very telling. Like, if the market is telling you something and yelling it at you, understand you might be wrong and the market's probably right. But the seller was not willing to negotiate on price.
Exactly. And, you know, coincidentally, we had a guest on our show talking about private mortgage notes. And, you know, I've heard I've invested in mortgage notes. You know, you have a business where you feed your family creating private mortgage. Right. That's exactly right. And so I thought I knew everything there was to know until I went through that class, and it's like the stars aligned, because all of a sudden I saw this deal in a completely different way. And even though Judah said to me a number of times, you know, you get the price, but I get the terms, it didn't click until that moment. And this deal just fell together from there. You know, it was structured in a way that we're able to be in this deal for very little cash, you know, very little out-of-pocket cash. We're going to be able to renovate the property where we need to be. And when it's time to, you know, make money on this deal, we've structured the seller's funds in such a way that it works.
Right. So what we did here is the seller wanted their number, and they were not willing to budge off of it.
Right.
And so even though Josh had made cash offers on this property and I had made cash offers on this property, and everybody thinks, well, it's listed on the MLS, therefore you have to make cash offers and nothing else will be accepted.
Right.
Josh and I both took the course that we recommend, the Note School course. I've been through Note School several times. And Josh and I both have tons of knowledge and information about doing note deals. Josh realized, oh my goodness, even after, you know, being at that Saturday class that we told everyone to go to, Josh now has a real estate deal that we went out and did because of that. So Josh says, Judah, let's work on this deal. And how can we do this?
Yeah.
So I'm a realtor. So I called the listing agent. I said, we're going to do a letter of intent.
Time out. We gotta take 2 steps back.
Yeah.
So I skip traced this guy.
Right.
And because of something weird happened in the MLS listing, it looked like it went unlisted for a minute, right? It never really did, but it looked like it did. So I skip traced the guy and I call him. And this is like before the Note School. It was before the note realization, right? And I call him. And even then I was kind of playing around with the creative offer, but I kind of froze on the phone because I tried to explain it to him. Here, I got 15 years of experience investing in real estate. And I froze on the phone in the conversation to the point where he says, I think you should just talk to my agent. And so, you know, that's when, you know, I said to Judah, I'm like, I think this is something that might work. He didn't tell me no.
Right.
He really screwed up the call. Right.
Right. So I called the agent and I said, listen, we're going to write you a letter of intent on what we're going to offer you. And I kind of spelled it out to him in like 30 seconds on the phone. And then Josh and I together worked on what our letter of intent is. Now, a letter of intent is non-binding, but a letter of intent is 1 or 2 pages, maybe 3 pages. They're used very much in the commercial just to get, here's what our earnest money is going to be. Here's what our term of due diligence is going to be. Here's roughly when we're going to look to close. Here's, you know, how much we're going to pay for the property. And, you know, things like that. Now, there's all kinds of legalese in the other 18 pages of a contract. What happens if you what happens if the buyer doesn't perform on this specific thing? And what happens if the seller doesn't perform on this specific thing? And what if we get this specific test back and it comes like this, or that same test vendor comes back like this? All that's spelled out in painful detail in a contract. But a letter of intent can just get you to agree to the basics. Yeah. And in a nutshell, what we said to the seller is, listen, we're going to bring enough cash to the table to pay the realtors and pay the transfer tax and pay the title insurance and everything like that. Basically, pay the closing costs. But what we're going to do is we're going to get a hard money loan, a private money. It's not even hard money. It's a private money loan.
Yep.
To pay for the repairs, and they're going to be in first lien position.
Yep.
And you're going to take a full price, but interest-free loan in second lien position. And we're going to pay you off a year from now.
That's right. And that's what Judah presented. And the thing is, when we talked in the background, we had a whole lot more stipulations that we wanted, that I wanted originally to bring up. And that's when Judah stepped in. And dude, I think it was the best advice ever.
I was like, listen, a letter of intent is about the oversight. We've got some other things, and they're probably going to ask for some other things, but let's agree in principle that we're going to pay you, because basically what we were saying is we could tell that no one was living there, right?
Right.
We could tell that it had been on the market for 18 months. So no one's living there, which means they don't need to cash this property out to go to another place. There's probably no mortgage on it, or they're hemorrhaging money or whatever, but it's also been on the market for 18 months. So they're not in a cash crunch. So if they're not in a cash crunch, they mentally, emotionally, whatever, have their mind set on this price that they're not willing to budge off of. Great. Let's give them that price. How can we give them that price?
Right.
Well, after we improve the property, we're going to create all kinds of equity. We're either going to refinance this property and hold it long term, or sell it, and realize, the cash at that point. So we said we told them that, and we told them who we are, and we let them know that we aren't newbies at this or anything else like that, but that what we're looking for is for you to carry a note, but not only do we need you to carry a note, but we also need you to be in second lien position, because the guy who's actually putting cash into the deal wants to be in first lien position, and that's fair, right? And they agreed to that. And of course, here's the thing. Of course, we told them, by the way, while we're rehabbing the property, while we own the property, like, we're going to own the property while you have a loan against it. So we're 100% responsible for taxes. We're 100% responsible for any maintenance or upkeep. We're 100% responsible for any HOA dues or water, sewer, trash bills. We're 100% responsible for insurance on the property. And the property will be fully insured. And the property, we're even going to go to the one step further of listing you as an additional insured. On it. So, like, we took all those objections away right up front, because if you're in his shoes, you're thinking, well, are you going to pay the taxes? And what happens if you don't pay the taxes? And can I verify that you paid the taxes? We told them right up front, we're going to pay the taxes, and you can verify that we've paid the taxes. And if you want us to verify for you that we've paid the taxes at any point, all you have to do is ask. Yeah. Right? A lot of people, when they do these creative finance deals, they're not willing to, for lack of a more couth way of saying it, open up the kimono. You know what I mean? Like, if they're holding a mortgage for you for their purchase price, be willing to verify anything to them at any point. Be willing to put them on the insurance as an additional insured. Don't just don't under or bare minimum insure the property. Josh went out and shopped around and got a great price with Red Rabbit Insurance, by the way. If you ever need insurance, Red Rabbit Insurance is awesome. Got a great price, on coverage of the property for builder's risk for why the insurance is happening. Well, and so why the rehab is happening.
Exactly. And so on that side, we took away objections, but then when it came down to it, some of the things we were asking for were a little bit over the top. Even on my side, I don't know that I would have accepted the terms that we gave them. You know, I mean, part of it was based on their payoff of the second lien position if in the case of a refi, right? And I'm not going to get into grave detail here, but what I am going to say is it was very, very interesting that, you know, we were kind of sweating bullets. We're like 2 days before closing and we're saying, okay, you know, I want to make sure that these documents are just right. I was talking to my attorney and I told him exactly what I wanted to do. And I said, look, I don't want there to be any gray area or misunderstanding here. But at the same time, like, you can write it nice. And he didn't write it nice, you know, not at all. It was like smack in your face. But that's what I wanted, because guess what? I'd rather have that happen 2 days or 3 days or 5 days before closing, because I have to set up. I got to get my dumpster delivered. I got to get my demo team ready to go. Right. We got to make sure that we've got people ready to go on day one of the project.
Right.
And so, you know, long story short, Judah goes, "Are you serious? Are you serious with these mortgage docs? Come on." And then we get a real bomb from the title company the day before closing. Oh, the seller has a mortgage. Right. They have an open mortgage on the house. And like, we're going in thinking there's no lien. So
right, because the reason we thought that this was going to work is that they didn't need the cash. And right. Remember, we want our finance guy who's putting in the cash to be in first lien position.
That's right.
We want him as the note holder to be in second lien position, and there's already a mortgage in place. And they said, that's fine, great. We've got other funds. We're going to satisfy that mortgage.
So this seller, we ended up covering we brought enough money to closing to cover our closing costs and their closing costs and things like that. But they didn't get net proceeds from the sale. They
brought money to the table. We worked out a terms deal that had the seller bringing cash to the table.
That's right.
It just, if there was ever a lesson, if there was ever a story or an example of the price doesn't matter, it's all about the terms.
Yeah.
For some reason, even doing this 20 years, we think that buying real estate is all about finding the right price. It's not. It's about asking questions, finding out what's going on, listening, and then giving somebody the terms that they want.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean, I thought this guy bought this as an investment property. No, turns out after talking to the neighbors and getting more information, we found out it was a different scenario, and it made a lot more sense to have this conversation. So, you know, if just because something is, we're going to be following this project for the next several weeks. And, you know, we're targeting in 90 days to get the interior finished, and then probably in the springtime tackle the outside. But, you know, it's going to be an interesting project. We're going to really enjoy having you guys, you know, showing you the insides of what's going on. We're targeting Friday for the completion or like underway of the demolition on the property. So that should be fun. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes, guys.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And Josh, you and I, we got to talk, man. I just realized that you and I have another wholesale deal that we're working on together that we need to update each other on.
Yeah, I agree. I got to make a couple calls when we're done here.
Oh, somebody didn't do their homework yet. I see how it is.
Oh, give me a break. All right. So we're going to be back here Thursday with a special guest. In the meantime, hey, go out, make some money. We'll be in touch. Touch base with us, Facebook, you know, DM us, whatever, if you have any questions. And till then, go get them, man.
See everybody. Have a great day.
All right. Have a good one.